Most of the time alteration spamming is going to be tedious, and you can easily roll over the modifier that you're looking for. Hopefully after watching this video, alteration spamming will be much easier for you, and also it will decrease the chances of you rolling over the modifier that you seek. In this video I'm going to show you first how not to do alteration spam, although sometimes you're going to be forced to use this method. In general, when people think about alteration spamming, they go to their currency tab, they have an item here, and they type a modifier that they want. I don't know, let's just say critical. And they type here uh, a few characters, a few words, and they're looking for that modifier, and they just spam alterations until the item highlights. Sometimes, for example, if you have a very expensive item and you only have one of them, this is the way to go. But in general, when you are talking about alteration spamming, we are talking about profit crafting most of the time with multiple bases, and this type of alteration spamming is going to be not good. You're going to hate your life if you're doing this. So what you have to understand about alterations, if you put the cursor over the item, you can see that the name it's written in one line only. And this is important because rare items, for example, have multiple lines, so you cannot search properly using a regex. But for magic items, you can do that. Now, when you type this character and then you type the first name of the item that if it was white, so my Quicksilver right now it's white, and it has a few characters in its name, a few words. Quicksilver being the first one, the last name being Flask. When you type this character and then you type the first word of the item, or a few characters from the first word, the item will highlight. Now, the item is blue because it does not have an empty prefix, it will not highlight. But if I spam a few alterations, you will see the moment it has an empty prefix, it will highlight like this, because when they have a suffix, it's added at the end of the name. When they have a prefix, it's added before the Quicksilver. Now, if you want to look for an open suffix, you can do this. You can type the last name of the item, which in our case it would be Flask, because when the item is magic, it's going to be Flask. And then you can put a $sign. And now if I spam alterations, the moment it will have an empty suffix, hopefully, like this, it will highlight. Now, why is this important? Well, first of all, let's show you. I have a few amulets prepared here to better explain. Now, when you go to Craft of Exile and you go to Jewelry, to Amulet, let's just say that you are spamming the +1 all skills. In my case here, I have a bunch of amulets that have very good modifiers, and they are and people are looking for them when buying a +2 amulet. For example, you go to Affinities and you select Righteous Fire amulets, and you can see that the base is going to be turquoise amulet, and these are the most important modifiers that they're using. A few of the most important modifiers that they're using. These are fractured, and I'm looking to make an amulet with +1 fire, +1 all skills, and some of these modifiers right here. Now, obviously, this crafting method is not really profitable. It could be about, I don't know, I'm expecting to be about 10 divines an hour, but the point of this video is not the profitability of this craft. It's going to be how to actually spam alterations. So let's just assume that I have a bunch of these amulets, maybe have 40 or 50, because when you are spamming alterations, you're mainly doing it for bulk crafting, and you need to be efficient. So video is all about efficiency when doing alteration spamming. If I want to go and hit the +1 all skills when spamming alterations, you will see right here, it says that it takes me 1800 alterations, but by default it has alterations and augment method. However, if you click here and you check none, it will say you will see that it takes almost double the amount of alterations to hit the +1 all. So this is where augmentations come in handy. If I want to hit if I want to spam for the +1 all and I have 40 or 50 of these bases, it's much better for me to actually have um, a search, a regex search that will highlight whenever this amulet has an empty prefix in our case. Now, another thing that is important about alteration spamming, it's going to be uh, the name of that modifier. So for example, when you when you hold alt on an item, every modifier will have a tag name. For example, the increased evasion rating, if I typed phased here, it will highlight because this modifier is called phased, the tier 2. This will not show the tier 1 of the increased evasion rating, it will only highlight the tier 2. You go to poedb, you go to modifiers, and here you select amulets, and you look for the +1 all. And here's the exalters. So if you copy exalters and you type it here, whenever the amulet has the +1 all, it will highlight. But this does not work with rare items. It only works with magic ones. For example, this amulet that I have right here, it has the Exalter mode on it, but it does not work. You can also type all skill, but if you're looking for something very specific like this amulet, when you are using these characters right here together with the word all skill, it will also highlight the amulets that have +1 cold, +1 fire, so it's not good. So this is why you should use this tag name, this exact name right here. So let's just say that you have 20 to 30 of these bases. You are spamming alterations looking for the +1. One thing that you could do is to actually put the alterations into this tab to simplify the crafting process. Now you don't have to cancel the affinities. Right now my tab has affinities for currency, which means if I'm on a different tab and I click on alterations, control click alterations, they will go to this tab. But if I control shift click, I did not disable the affinities, I still have the affinities on, and it will put the alterations and augmentations in this tab. Now this is particularly useful if you have like 2,000 or 3,000 alterations, maybe 6,000, because it's much easier to reach for an alteration in this tab right here next to the crafting items compared to moving your cursor all the way over here. And when you're doing this type of crafting, you are oftentimes going to switch between augmentations and alterations. So this is why it's important to control shift click items to put them into the crafting tab. Now how I would highlight for these amulets to either show me an empty prefix or the +1 all. Well, we are going to start with quotation marks, type this character, type a few characters from the first word of the base item, for example, and then I would also type this character, which means it has to have either the first expression or the second expression, which is going to be exalt a few characters from that tag name. You can type the exalters, or you can just type a few characters like this. It's going to work just fine. So now when I'm spamming alterations, you have to do this in a pattern. You don't and you don't want to repeat yourself such that you don't roll over. And now all these items are highlighted, because compared to this one two that are not highlighted, these have an empty prefix. And now what you can do, you can just augment the ones that are highlighted. Now obviously if you have only 4 or 5 items, this may not be useful, but if you have like 30-40 of such bases, this is going to be super lucrative. Anyway, this is all I had for this video. If you think to try this crafting method, do it at your own risk. I'm not going to say you're going to lose money, but it's going to be very painful, and you're probably going to make about 10 divines an hour, maybe 15 if you get lucky, trying to craft these amulets. I just showed them for the purpose of this video. It's not a profit craft, but I'm expecting about 10 divines an hour crafting such amulets.